To celebrate the release of the new Superman movie hitting theaters last weekend and raking in tons of money, I decided to go back and review the entire Superman the Animated Series. But does this classic cartoon still hold up today? Let's get started on my review of Superman the Animated Series. Let's go. And I run it. And I run it. And I run it. What's going on my cartoon junkies? Welcome to Cartoons and Cereal, a new segment on my channel where I review classic cartoons and cereal. I am your host, Jacey, and I just finished watching the complete series of Superman the Animated Series. Before I do start my review, please note this will be a spoiler-free review, just in case you've never seen this show before, currently showing on HBO Max. Also, please make sure to hit that like, hit that subscribe, hit that notification bell to stay up to date on more classic cartoons that I'm reviewing just like this. So Superman the Animated Series stars Tim Daly, David Kaufman, Dana Delaney, Clancy Brown, Corey Burton, and more. Much more. Trust me, I can probably go on for days about all the actors who were in this show. And if you guys know me, I'm a huge fan of Superman as well as Batman, and that's probably why you guys see the Trinity in front of me, which is Batman, Superman, and Wonder Woman. I have been a fan of that trio and all of those superheroes since I was a kid. And Superman the Animated Series, along with Batman the Animated Series, even Spider-Man the Animated Series, were played throughout my childhood constantly. Superheroes was just like a way of life for me and my brothers. But Superman the Animated Series tells the story of Clark Kent, a kind-hearted journalist who protects the world as Superman. Now, this is a lot different from some of the iterations that we've gotten before when it comes to Superman. This was much more serious in tone. This was along the same alley of Batman the Animated Series, but not as dark. We got a serious tone of Superman, not only playing the popular superhero that we all know and love, but also as Clark Kent, his alter ego. And unlike earlier versions, this show dives deep into his origin and builds a strong foundation for the entire DC animated universe at that time. The storytelling balanced a lot of everyday life of Superman in Metropolis with high-stakes battles across galaxies. On whether he was saving the world from an alien threat or standing up to corrupt business tycoons, Superman always showed strength, kindness, and hope. This cartoon for sure was a balance of not only seeing the superhero but also seeing Clark Kent, and a lot of the villains that we got introduced to in this cartoon was my introduction of Superman's villains. And I will be honest with you guys, with this Superman cartoon, I was introduced to a lot of his origin story, a lot of the villains, a lot of his story in general. Then I started to read the comic books in different iterations, versions, but this was for sure my gateway into Superman and that whole world of Metropolis. The series was full of dramatic arcs, powerful friendships, and even big moral questions. Just like Batman the Animated Series, they had some tough episodes that I didn't understand as a kid, but let me tell you, rewatching this whole series this past weekend, I thought, wow, there's a lot in here that now I understand as an adult. It's not just about the fights though, it's about what it means to be a hero. And that's what I've always appreciated with Superman, and even looking at Batman, who is kind of different in those regards, and seeing how those universes differ, it's definitely a contrast for sure. You have Batman, who's the defender of a dark city of Gotham with these villains who are psychotic and have a lot of deep-rooted issues. Then you have Superman over here, who's a symbol of hope. And unlike Batman, he's not so much a defender, but he's more of a savior. He's more of a superhero. He saves, and then he also fights as well, but his big primary objective or goal is always to save the day. And you got a lot of that in this cartoon. So at that time, it was awesome to get like a full dose of superheroes and the different kinds. I was also watching Spider-Man the Animated Series, and seeing his story was drastically different from Batman and Superman. So it was almost like I was getting a full course meal with a lot of these cartoons at that time. Now, the voice acting in this series is top tier. Tim Daly nails it as Superman, calm, brave, and full of heart. Dana Delaney brings Lois Lane to life with sharp wit and fearless energy. And Clancy Brown as Lex Luthor, I mean, come on, it's Clancy Brown, aka Mr. Krabs, aka a lot of different acting roles, even recently in The Penguin. Clancy Brown's been everywhere, and he's still a legend to this day. He's one of the best versions of this villain ever, and I will say that on here with no hesitation. Trust me, I did love Nicholas Holt's version of Lex. I also love past iterations of Lex as well, but to me, Clancy Brown brought something different to that character. He sounded smart smart, cold, and dangerous. Now, other standout voices included Shelley Fabares and Mike Farrell as Ma and Pa Kent. And that is one of the things that, if you guys did not see my Superman review that came out last weekend, definitely go and check it out. But that was one of my gripes with James Gunn's version. Ma and Pa Kent were different in that film, to say the least. With this Ma and Pa Kent, that was what I was used to. Not only were they the pillars of Superman and him growing up, finding out ways how to deal with this world, but also they gave great nuggets of wisdom to our superhero. Another one I have to mention is Ed Asner's unforgettable performance as Granny Goodness. Every voice, though, adds something unique to the world of Superman. Now, another thing I do have to mention, of course, is the animation. The animation was beautiful. It was sleek, bold, and ahead of its time. Much like Batman the Animated Series, the structures and the linings of these characters kind of matched that style, but not so dark. It was the opposite of what we were used to seeing with Gotham City. The clean lines and bright colors made Metropolis feel futuristic and full of life. The character designs are simple but powerful, matching the tone of the series perfectly. Whether Superman was flying over the city or battling Darkseid in space, every scene was smooth and visually exciting. And this was one of the first times that Bruce Timm's iconic art style was fully used, and it helped shape the look of all of DC animated shows that followed after this. So trust me when I say the animation style that I'm most used to is for sure Bruce Timm's. Now, I do want to kind of do something different in this review because I felt like I could have went a little more in depth on the Batman animated series one, but I kind of want to give a season breakdown. Now, this show did just give us 3 seasons, but nonetheless, each season had their own right in making this show what it is today. Now, season 1 aired from 1996 to 1997, and the series kicked off with a 3-part origin story that feels epic and emotional. And if you guys do recall, in the movie The Man of Steel, Zack Snyder did take some of this origin story not only from the comic books, but also from this 3-part origin story. As I was going back, I was thinking, wow, especially the parts in Krypton and when he's a baby, that is almost beat for beat in a way of Zack Snyder's Man of Steel. And that 3-part origin story, it just set the tone for what was to come and introduced key characters like Lois, Jimmy, and Lex. We also met villains like Brainiac, Toyman, and Parasite, and the season built Superman's world piece by piece compared to Batman's Gotham. And in season 2, which aired from 1997 to 1998, while showing us just how different Metropolis is, this second season was packed with fan favorite moments. Yes, including a lot of my favorites. We got World's Finest, aka the episode where Superman teams up and clashes with Batman. And then Darkseid shows up in a big way, launching one of the most intense rivalries in the DC universe. Supergirl also made her debut in this season. The Flash raced Superman, and we got deeper into cosmic threats in this second season. With over 25 episodes, season 2 is the heart of the series, and it's what really impacted a lot of us fans today. Now, lastly, we got to talk about season 3, which aired from 1998 to 2000. Though shorter, this final season ended the show with a bang. More Justice League members appeared, Batman returned, and Superman faced his toughest challenge yet. The final battle with Darkseid in the Legacy episode is one of the best superhero show finales ever made. Yes, I said it. It was full of emotion, danger, and power. You felt the impacts of that episode. You also felt like the show had a true finale. Now, along with Batman the Animated Series, I gotta talk about why this is one of the best. Superman the Animated Series might not be as moody as Batman the Animated Series or as massive as the Justice League cartoon, but it has something even more important: heart. This show brought Superman to life in a way that felt honest and inspiring. It introduced new fans to the larger DC universe, with appearances from heroes like Steel, Supergirl, and the Legion of Superheroes, which later on had its own cartoon, and that was pretty cool as well. But this series respected the comics while creating new versions of villains like Metallo and Livewire that sometimes outshine their comic book versions. Going back and doing some of my digging and history on some of these villains, I felt like the cartoon really did justice in a way that was different from some of those villains. Much like Batman the Animated Series, we got depth in versions of these villains that we had never seen before. But the show also gave Superman a strong supporting cast. Lois and Jimmy are active in the action and way more fun than their usual versions. I did love that about this, also in James Gunn's version as well. But the show avoided cheesy tropes and instead gave us a Superman who's hopeful but tough. In a time full of dark heroes, he was a light that never really dimmed, and I loved, like I said, watching this accompanied with Batman the Animated Series. So here are my final thoughts, you guys. Superman the Animated Series isn't just a cartoon. It's the foundation of the DC animated universe. It paved the way for everything that came after, from Justice League to Batman Beyond. Watching this as a kid shaped how I saw heroes, and now sharing it with the new generation shows just how timeless it really is. This was truly Superman at his best, strong, honest, and full of hope. If you love superhero stories, this one's not just worth watching, it's essential. With all that being said, you guys, I'm gonna give Superman the Animated Series 5 out of 5 flames and a Jacey Flames approved rating.
Oh my god! Wow!
This show isn't just good, it's legendary. Superman the Animated Series takes everything we love about the Man of Steel and brings it to life with style, heart, and unforgettable storytelling. So although there were a lot of great episodes in this cartoon series, I thought I'd cut it down to my top 7, which is very tough to do, trust me. But some of the standout episodes in this series that were my favorites and my recommendations include Season 1, Episode 1 through 3, titled The Last Son of Krypton, aka the 3-part premiere that shows Superman's origin story unlike you've ever seen before. Part 1 shows the fall of Krypton. Part 2 shifts to Smallville as Clark Kent grows up and discovers who he really is. Part 3 lands in Metropolis, where Superman meets Lois Lane, clashes with Lex Luthor, and becomes the city's protector. Season 2, Episode 5, titled Livewire, a brand new villain joins Superman's rogues gallery. Leslie Willis, a loudmouth radio host who hates Superman, is turned into electric-powered Livewire after an accident. This was not only a fresh take on a different type of villain, but it's also one of the most memorable original characters from this series. Season 2, Episode 12, titled Brave New Metropolis, where Lois Lane finds herself in a parallel world where her death led Superman to team up with Lex Luthor and take over Metropolis. This was for sure one of those Elseworlds type of story that I just love seeing. Season 2, Episodes 16 through 18, titled The World's Finest, aka the 3-part crossover where Batman and Superman finally meet, also hash it out a little bit. Batman hits to Metropolis to stop the Joker, who teams up with Lex Luthor, and it's for sure an amazing 3-part episode crossover. Season 2, Episodes 25 through 26, titled Apocalypse Now, a 2-part storyline that introduces Darkseid, ruler of the evil planet Apocalypse. He arrives on Earth with his army, bringing trouble for Superman. Season 2, Episodes 27 through 28, titled Little Girl Lost, which is a 2-part storyline as well. After the heavy drama of Darkseid's arrival, this 2-parter brings in Supergirl. And lastly, Season 3, Episodes 12 through 13, titled Legacy, which is the 2-part series finale. The series ends with a bang. Darkseid brainwashes Superman into leading an invasion of Earth. That's pretty much all I'll say, because you gotta watch this, alright guys? You have to. Alright guys, so for this episode, I thought I'd try something different, and I did see this at the store, and I thought, alright, this could be interesting. So I thought I'd try Fruity Pebbles with marshmallows. Now this might be an overkill, this might be a diabetes, to be honest, but I thought I'd try something different since I've tried a lot of my classic cereals growing up that I was eating. This is something different because yeah, I did grow up eating Fruity Pebbles for sure. This is added marshmallows. So we're gonna check it out. We're gonna see how this tastes. Gotta do the almond milk. Okay, this is interesting. You get different textures with the Fruity Pebbles, and then the marshmallows are just kind of like hard. I mean, just that blend with the Fruity Pebbles and the marshmallows is just weird. And it is a lot of sugar. Yeah, I don't know how I feel about this, I'm gonna be honest. I mean, I'm a fan of Fruity Pebbles, all right? I like Fruity Pebbles, but with marshmallows, like, it's a little too much. Not only sugar, but I just can't blend with the textures, you know? We're used to getting marshmallows in cereals like Lucky Charms. That makes sense texture-wise. I mean, it just doesn't complement it right with the Fruity Pebbles. So with this rating, I think I'm gonna give this 2.5 bowls out of 5. It's kind of meh, to be honest. I mean, you could try this, but I probably wouldn't recommend it. I feel like Fruity Pebbles on their own is just better, much better. You don't need the marshmallows, it's a little overkill. That's my thoughts on that. Probably won't finish this bowl, to be honest. Usually I do finish most of the bowls, but yeah, man. All right guys, so do you remember Superman the Animated Series? If so, what are your thoughts of this series, and what are some of your favorite episodes? Let me know in the comments below. Last thing before I do go, you guys, please make sure to hit that like, hit that subscribe, hit that notification bell to stay up to date. My name is Jacey, and until next time, I'm out.